When it comes to publishing, what are the right things that we should focus on in an ideal world? I will cover some of those components now. So let's go back to niche research. I think that is one of the most important things in the beginning when you don't have an audience. Now, as you go further and further into your publishing journey, you will also realize that strategizing and hiring other people will become more and more important. It might include finding ways to have customers buy more of our products, so more of our books. Have you ever wondered if you're being productive or not as you're working on your self-publishing business? In this video, we will talk about time management and the crucial role that it has played in my self-publishing journey to building a 7-figure business. So we are out here in the mountains, and I'm not strictly following my own advice in this video, which you will discover later on. However, I have an add-on to that, which I will add in the beginning. So it will be an interesting video to watch, I think. So stay with me as we dive deeper into this topic. So first, what is time management? So time management is our ability to use our time productively. And then the follow-up question becomes, what is productivity? So productivity, it's measured by the rate of output per unit of input. So in other words, what are the results that we're getting from the actions that we're taking? When I look at my own publishing journey from this perspective, I can easily see that there have been many times where I haven't been productive. However, I thought I was being productive, because sometimes we might think that we're taking so much action, we are being productive, but being busy and being productive, it's not the same thing. So that is what I discovered when I looked at the fruit of my labor. For example, when I was doing Pinterest marketing, and that might work for some self-publishers, but it didn't give any results for me. Or when I did other business models, or when I tried unorthodox marketing tactics. Now, of course, it's worth to test sometimes and see, because certain things might work better for some books. For example, let's say you have cookbooks. I can see recipes working well on Pinterest, but for the type of books that I was publishing, it didn't give any results. So we can, based on the results, we can say that I was not being productive. But of course, it's a balance, because you do want to test. So that is one thing to keep in mind. So one interesting fact about publishing is that our time is not worth the same throughout our week, let's say, or throughout a book's creation even. So if we take, for example, writing the book, that has a certain amount of value. And then if we take another example, such as formatting, that has another value. And then we take book cover design, that has a different value. So if you were to hire another person to do these jobs, you would pay differently, because they have varying levels of difficulty. So to jump back to what I said in the beginning, productivity is not about being busy. Then what is productivity about? I believe that productivity is about doing the right things. So when it comes to publishing, what are the right things that we should focus on in an ideal world? I will cover some of those components now. And I think that one thing that you can never go wrong with in the beginning is doing niche research. By the way, if you haven't checked out my free community on Skool, then I advise you to check it out. It's free to join, and you have a community tab there where you can ask me questions or other publishers questions. And I will also be adding some videos there that won't be available on YouTube, and you can also probably see some of the videos before they go live on YouTube. I think there will be something like that too. So check it out if you want to be a part of a community. Imagine if we have a community of publishers who are all striving to help each other to achieve our dreams, whether it's time and location freedom, or it's building a brand, or it's generating an extra side income, or whatever our goals are with publishing. So let's go back to niche research. I think that is one of the most important things in the beginning when you don't have an audience, because that is how we will drive traffic to our books when people are searching for it, organically at least. Of course, we have Amazon ads, but niche research, it's an important thing. However, with time, you will discover that you will get better and better and faster, and eventually you'll also see that there are many other high value activities that you can focus on. So let's go back to the beginning and look at some other activities that have been crucial for me. So when I started out, I didn't have access to the same amount of resources, so I had to write some of the books myself. And what I did in the beginning was that I set a goal of writing 1,000 words every morning. So if you write 1,000 words every morning, then within 30 days you will have a 30,000 word manuscript, which ends up being a book that is over 100 pages. So that was one example of a productive use of my time back then. And as a interesting side note, in 2019 I was in a publishing mastermind in Lake Tahoe, and I met one man there who wrote 15,000 words per day. And I remember thinking that that was like the 5-minute mile by Robert Bannister. It really reset my limitations, or really opened my eyes to what's possible. Now let's quickly cover some other components that can be considered high value activities. So we have, for example, crafting a unique title. Let's see if we can see some bears or other animals over here. Anyways, so crafting a compelling subtitle, I think, is an important part of publishing. So the title should ideally have the search term that we want to rank for, that people are using to find books on this topic. And then the subtitle we want to make compelling, and we ideally want to add a unique selling point so that we give the customers a reason to choose our book instead of the other books. Furthermore, I believe that selecting a great book cover, that's also something that has a lot of value to it. So if we hire a designer, for example, and that designer provides us with examples, but we're not 100% pleased with it, then I think it's our job as publishers to ask for more examples or aim to give more instructions. And if the designer is not able to make the covers as good or stand out or better than the other books, then I think we might want to consider testing another designer. Another thing that I think has a lot of value to it is checking the book descriptions. So in the beginning I crafted several book descriptions myself. I still do from time to time, and I always, even now, make sure that I'm the one double checking the descriptions and make adjustments if needed. For example, a headline is very important. The bullet points are important as well. So that is another example of when we're being productive with our time. Now, as you go further and further into your publishing journey, you will also realize that strategizing and hiring other people will become more and more important. So for example, when it comes to strategizing, it might include finding ways to have customers buy more of our products, so more of our books. And when it comes to hiring, that might include hiring great writers, or it might include hiring a manager who not only manages what we have instructed them, but perhaps they're also providing insights into what can be done better, or they are able to spot errors or problems that we might not be aware of. So that's a great thing to have a person like that on the team, because then you're not doing everything by yourself. So after a certain point, the people on your team is what will determine the productivity. So they will have most of the input, and then their work will be the thing that determines the output. So let's say the quality of the writing, that is what will result in either good or bad reviews. So more important things to focus on, it's getting reviews and doing Amazon ads. But I think we've covered most of the base. So let's move on now that we're focusing on the right thing, because we determined that that is using our time productively. So how can we now make the most of our time? And I told you in the beginning that I'm not following my own advice, so it's late here right now. So one time management expert is called Brian Tracy, and he talks about that you want to eat the frog the first thing in the morning. And the hardest task is usually what is the frog, as he calls it. So eating the frog. And that is usually a task that is also carrying the most weight. So the thing that will have the most impact. And you want to do those types of tasks in the beginning of the day, because then you have the most brain power. So if you push these types of tasks towards the end of the day, then you might not have the mental energy to perform the task, or you might not even have the time to complete it. So with this video, it does require some brain power. I do need to think, what am I going to say? So in an ideal world, this video should be created early on in the morning. But I believe that sometimes we need to break these time management rules and productivity rules as well. And sometimes we simply need to push and get things done, and we can't always try to get everything perfect. So that is one thing that I believe is very powerful as well. That sometimes we don't need to make everything perfect. We simply go. But let's go back to some structure, some techniques. And that is a technique in and of itself, that sometimes we don't care about the techniques necessarily. We simply push, because we are the driven ones. So we get things done no matter what. Now, let's go over one technique that has played a crucial role in my ability to get things done. And that is planning tomorrow today. Now, the way I've done it is I've planned the week every Sunday. So every Sunday, I have planned the week, and I've done this for years, so I know exactly what I'm going to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And what I do is I write down 1 to 4 things that are going to push the business forward. So this can include, in the beginning, it was things such as writing 5,000 to 7,000 words. After a while, it included hiring key people, or doing niche research, or creating systems, etc. So you want to identify what are the things that if I do these, they are the ones that will bring the most results. And you want to schedule those tasks to the beginning of the day. So you're eating the frog. Because if we start the day with checking emails or working on social media, then we will use brain power, and we will also use time that we might need for this bigger project. Because sometimes, as we'll discover, it often takes longer than what we think. So every day we want to wake up with a clear plan of how to make the day successful. Because what is success? Success is a compilation of days where we have done the right input, we've done the right action that will eventually lead to our desired output or results. So that, to me, is time management in a nutshell. Doing the right things in the right time or in the right order. So what determines if we're doing the right thing or not? That all depends on our goals. So from the goals, we get a project plan. And for any project, we should first know what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So for example, it could be creating a book, and then we want to know why we are doing it. So this could include to create an additional income, or to leave a legacy, or to build an email list, etc., etc. And then after that, we want an action plan. So what are the steps that we need to take? And this could include, for example, niche research, then creating an outline, creating a title, etc., etc. And then we want to know who will do what and when. So, for example, I will write 5,000 words every morning, or 1,000 words every morning, for 5 days per week, and within 4 weeks I will have a manuscript ready for publishing, or my designer will have a book cover done by this date, etc. And then lastly, it's all about taking action. So that is what I have for you in this video. I could go on about productivity and time management. For example, we could talk about removing tasks, outsourcing, or systematizing, but I think we'll save that for another video. If you like the video, hit the like button, and as always, best of luck in your own publishing journey, and I hope to see you in the next video, or that we connect one day. Thanks for watching.